Greetings from the world of the imagination. I'm your host, Tom Bergeron. This month, the Hollywood Radio Players bring you The Hitch-Hiker, a haunting supernatural tale performed by Orson Welles for the CBS radio show Suspense way back on September 2nd, 1942, during World War II. This anthology series of classic radio plays from the golden age of radio are reimagined via Zoom in a hybrid format. This is radio you can see. While the Hollywood Radio Players, also known as HRP, use today's actors and modern technology to recreate these shows for you, they also follow many traditions of classic radio from the golden age. For example, you may see actors reading their scripts into the microphones the same way actors did in the 1940s. The multi-talented members of the HRP take turns acting, directing, editing, creating special effects, music, more. They also often play multiple roles in the same episode. The only thing they don't do, I hear, is windows. See how many roles played by the same actor you can spot in the show coming up. The radio plays in the series from the Hollywood Radio Players are generously being loaned for fundraising purposes to the Motion Picture and Television Fund, also known as MPTF, for 100 years. That's a century. MPTF has provided much needed medical and financial support and more to members of the entertainment community. The pandemic, as I'm sure you can imagine, created new challenges, and MPTF was there to meet them. I've worked with MPTF for years. I've witnessed the great work that they do. Please consider making a tax-deductible donation of any amount in the link below. Lee Purcell, Michael Carnegie, and the MPTF staff are the producers of this collaboration between the Hollywood Radio Players and MPTF. The Hollywood Radio Players will be streaming a new episode once a month for you. You can find these and other HRP episodes on their website, hollywoodradioplayers.com. Now, while you're clicking things, please like and subscribe down below, okay? That helps support Hollywood Radio Players and gives you the opportunity to see upcoming episodes as they debut. You can also follow Hollywood Radio Players on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And now, I'll turn this over to Day McAllister, the director of this chilling ghost story, The Hitch-Hiker. Day, take us into the world of the supernatural.
The Hitch-Hiker, authored by Lucille Fletcher, wrote said script after having made a cross-country trip and saw the same hitchhiker a couple of times. The Hitchhiker is a ghost story, and the theme is death. It is coming for all of us, and we cannot outrun it. As you listen to the sounds of this ghost story, let the tone and the mood of those words take you on that ride tonight.
The Columbia Network takes pleasure in bringing you Suspense. Suspense, Columbia's parade of outstanding thrillers, produced and directed by William Spire and scored by Bernard Herrmann. The notable melodramas from stage and screen, fiction and radio, presented each week to bring you to the edge of your chair, to keep you in suspense.
Good evening. This is Orson Welles. Very happy I am to be back in the United States and back in the Columbia Network, even for so short a visit as this one. Back with old friends like Day McAllister, who's tonight's director, and Edwin Telford. The Mercury Theater presented tonight's radio play for the first time last year. We came right out then and hailed it as a classic of the medium. Nobody argued this point. A lot of people ask us to do it again, so it's gratifying to get the chance now. To find a favorite of ours in this distinguished anthology of spook shows. Personally, I never met anybody who didn't like a good ghost story. But I know a lot of people who think there are a lot of people who don't like a good ghost story. For the benefit of these, at least, I go on the record on the outset of this evening's entertainment with a sober assurance that although blood may be curdled on this program, none will be spilt. There's no shooting, knifing, throttling, axing, or poisoning here. No clanking chains, no cobwebs, no bony and or hairy hands appearing from secret panels or, better yet, bedroom curtains. If it's any part of that dear old phosphorescent foolishness that people who don't like ghost stories don't like, then again I promise you, we haven't got it. Not tonight. What we do have is a thriller. If it's half as good as we think it is, you can call it a shocker. It's already been called a real Orson Welles story. Now, frankly, I don't know what this means. I've been on the air directing and acting in my own shows for quite a while now, and I don't suppose I've done more than half a dozen thrillers in all that time. Honestly, I don't even think that many, but it seems I do have a reputation for the uncanny. Quite possibly, a little escapade of mine, involving a couple of planets which shall be nameless, is responsible. Doesn't really matter. Don't think I disapprove of thrillers, I don't. Story doesn't have to appeal to the heart, it can also appeal to the spine. Sometimes you want your heart to be warmed, and sometimes you want your spine to tingle. The tingling, it is to be hoped, will be quite audible as you listen tonight to The Hitch-Hiker. That's the name of our story. The Hitch-Hiker.
I'm in an auto camp on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, perhaps it'll help me, keep me from going crazy. I gotta tell this quickly. I'm not crazy now. I feel perfectly well, except that I'm running a slight temperature. My name is Ronald Adams. I'm 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark with a brown mustache and beard. I drive a 1940s Buick, license number 6Y175189. I was born in Brooklyn. All this I know. I know that I'm at this moment perfectly sane, that it's not me who's gone mad, but something else. Something utterly beyond my control. I've got to speak quickly. At any moment, the link may break. This may be the last thing I ever tell on Earth. The last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California.
Bye, son. Good luck to you, my boy.
Oh, goodbye, Mother. Here, give me a kiss, then I'll go.
I'll come out with you to the car.
No, it's raining. Just stay here at the door. What's this, tears? I thought you promised me you wouldn't cry.
Oh, I know, dear. I'm sorry. But I hate to see you go.
Mother, I'll be back. I'm only going to be on the coast for 3 months.
Oh, it isn't that. It's the trip, Ronald. I wish you weren't driving.
Oh, Mother, there you go again. People do this every day.
I know, but you'll be careful, won't you? Promise me you'll be extra careful. Don't fall asleep or drive fast or pick up any strangers on the road.
Oh, gosh, you'd think I was still 17. The way you talk.
And you'll wire me as soon as you get to Hollywood.
Of course.
Will you, son?
Of course I will. Look, don't you worry. There isn't anything gonna happen. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent, civilized roads with a hot dog or hamburger stand every 10 miles. I was in fine spirits. The drive ahead of me, even the loneliness, seemed like a lark. But I reckoned without him. Crossing Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man leaning against the cables. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. He was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was thin, nondescript, with a cap pulled down over his eyes. I would have forgotten him completely, except that just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least, he looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he got there, but I thought probably one of those fast trucks had picked him up, beaten me to the Skyway, and let him off. I didn't stop for him. Then, late that night, I saw him again. It was on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the tunnels when I saw him. standing under an arc light by the side of the road. I could see him quite distinctly, the bag, the cap, even the spots of fresh rain spattered over his shoulders. He helloed at me this time. Hello! I stepped on the gas like a shot. It's lonely country through the Alleghenies. I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidences, or whatever it was, gave me the willies. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir.
Fill her up.
Certainly, sir. Check your oil, sir.
No thanks.
Nice night, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Hasn't been raining here recently, has it?
Not a drop of rain all week.
Oh, well, I suppose that hasn't done your business any harm.
Oh, people drive through here all kinds of weather. Mostly business, you know. There aren't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this season of the year.
No, I suppose not. What about hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers. Here?
Well, what's the matter? Don't you ever see any?
Not much. If we did, it'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Oh, why's that?
Well, a guy'd be a fool who started out to hitch rides on this road. Look at him.
Then you've never seen anybody?
No. Maybe they get the lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, you know, just before the toll house. But then it'd be a mighty long ride. Most cars wouldn't want to pick up a guy for that long a ride. And, you know, this is pretty lonesome country here, mountains and woods. You ain't seen anybody like that, have you?
Oh, no, not at all. I was just, well, it was a technical question.
Oh, I see. Well, that'll be just $1.49 with the tax.
The thing gradually passed through my mind as sheer coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh. I didn't think about the man all next day until just something outside of Zanesville, Ohio. I saw him again. It was a bright, sunshiny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, they just lay dreaming in the golden light. And I was driving slowly, drinking it in, when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Let me explain about his appearance before I go on. I repeat, there was nothing sinister about him. He was as drab as a mud fence. Nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there, waiting, almost drooping a little, a cheap overnight bag in his hand. He looked as though he'd been waiting there for hours. And he looked up. He hailed me. He started to walk forward.
Hello. Hello.
No, not just now. Sorry.
Going to California.
No, not today. The other way, going to New York. Sorry. After I got the car back on the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of having him sit beside me, was somehow unbearable. At the same time, I felt, more than ever, unspeakably alone. Hour after hour went by. The fields, the towns, they ticked off one by one. The light changed. I knew now that I was going to see him again. And though I dreaded the sight, I caught myself searching the side of the road, waiting for him to appear.
Yeah? What is it? What do you want?
You sell sandwiches and pop here, don't you?
Yeah, we do in the daytime, but we're closed up now for the night.
Oh, I know, but I was wondering if you could possibly just let me have a cup of coffee. Black coffee.
No, not this time of night. My husband's the cook. He's in bed.
No, don't shut the door. Please, listen. Just a minute ago, there was a man. He was standing here right beside this stand. A suspicious-looking man. I don't mean to disturb you. You see, I was driving along when I happened to look, and there he was.
What was he doing?
Well, nothing.
You've been taking a nip. That's what you've been doing now. Now, on your way, before I'll call Sheriff Oakes.
I got in the car again and drove on slowly. I was beginning to hate the car. If I could have found a place to stop, just to rest a little. I was in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri now. The few resort places there were closed, only an occasional log cabin, seemingly deserted. That's all that broke the monotony, the wild, wooded landscape. I had seen him at the roadside stand, and I knew I'd see him again. Maybe at the next turn of the road. I knew that when I saw him next, I would run him down. But I didn't see him again. I didn't see him until late next afternoon. I'd stopped the car at a sleepy little junction just across the border into Oklahoma to let a train pass by. When he appeared across the tracks, leaning against a telephone pole. A perfectly airless dry day. The red clay of Oklahoma was baking under the southwestern sun. Yet there were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. I couldn't stand that. Without thinking, blindly, I started the car across the tracks. He didn't even look up at me. He was staring at the ground. I stepped on the gas hard, veering the wheel sharply toward him. I could hear the train in the distance now, but I didn't care. And then something went wrong with the car. It stalled right on the tracks. The train was coming closer. I could hear its bell ringing and the cry of its whistle. Still, he stood there. Now I knew that he was beckoning me to my death. Well, I frustrated him that time. The starter worked at last. I managed to back up. When the train passed, it was gone. I was all alone in the hot, dry afternoon. After that, I knew I had to do something. I didn't know who this man was or what he wanted of me. I only knew that from now on, I mustn't let myself alone on the road for 1 minute. Hello there. Would you like a ride?
Well, what do you think? How far are you going?
Where do you want to go?
Amarillo, Texas.
I'll drive you there.
Gee. Oh. Do you mind if I take off my shoes? My dogs are killing me.
Go right ahead.
Oh, gee, what a break this is.
You hitchhike much?
Sure. Only it's tough sometimes in these great open spaces to get the breaks.
Yeah, I should think it would be. Though, I'll bet you get a good pickup in a fast car, and if you did, you could get places faster than, say, another person in another car, couldn't you?
I don't get you.
Well, take me for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country, say at a nice steady clip, about 45 miles an hour. Couldn't a girl like you, just standing beside the road waiting for a lift, beat me to town? Or any town, provided she got picked up every time in a car doing from 65 to 75 miles an hour?
I don't know. What difference does it make?
Oh, no difference. That's just a crazy idea I had sitting here in the car.
Imagine spending your time in a swell car thinking of things like that.
Well, what would you do instead?
What would I do? If I was a good-looking fellow like yourself, why, I just enjoyed myself every minute of the time. I'd sit back and relax. And if I saw a good-looking girl on the side of the road, look out!
Did you see him too?
See who?
That man, standing beside the barbed wire fence.
I didn't see anybody. It was nothing but a bunch of cows in the wire fence.
No?
what did you think he was doing, trying to run into the barbed wire fence?
Oh, there was a man there, I tell you. A thin gray man with an overnight bag in his hand. And I was trying to run him down.
Run him down? You mean kill him?
You say you didn't see him back there? Are you sure?
I didn't see a soul, and as far as that's concerned...
Watch for him next time. Just keep watching. Keep your eyes peeled on the road. He'll turn up again. Oh, it may be any minute now. There. Look there!
I'm getting out of here!
Did you see him that time?
No, I didn't see him that time. And personally, mister, I don't expect never to see him. All I want to do is go on living. I don't see how I will very long driving with you.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't... I don't know what came over me. Please, don't go.
So if you'll just excuse me...
You can't go. Listen, how would you like to go to California? I'll drive you to California.
Seeing pink elephants all the way? No thanks. Thanks, just the same.
Oh, no, listen, please. Just 1 minute, please.
You know what I think you need, big boy? Not a girlfriend, just a dose of sleep.
Please.
There. I got it now.
No, you can't go. You can't go.
Leave your hands off me, do you hear? Leave your hands off me!
She ran from me, as though I were a monster. A few minutes later, I saw a passing truck pick her up. I knew then that I was utterly alone. I was in the heart of the great Texas prairies. There wasn't a car on the road after that truck went by. I tried to figure out what to do, how to get a hold of myself. If I could just find a place to rest, or even if I could just sleep right here in the car for a few hours along the side of the road. I was getting my winter overcoat out of the back seat to use as a blanket, and I saw him coming toward me, emerging from the herd of moving steer.
Hello. Hello.
Maybe I should have spoken to him then, fought it out, then and there. Now he began to be everywhere, wherever I stopped, even for a moment, for gas, for oil, for a drink of pop, cup of coffee, sandwich. He was there. I saw him standing outside the auto camp in Amarillo that night when I dared to slow down. He was sitting near the drinking fountain of a little camping spot just inside the border of New Mexico. He was waiting for me outside the Navajo reservation when I stopped to check my tires. I saw him in Albuquerque when I bought 20 gallons of gas. I was afraid to stop now. I began to drive faster and faster. I was in a lunar landscape now, the great arid mesa country of New Mexico. I drove through it with the indifference of a fly crawling over the face of the moon. Now he didn't even wait for me to stop. Unless I drove at 85 miles an hour over those endless roads, he waited for me at every other mile. I'd see his figure, shadowless, flitting before me, still in its same attitude, over the cold, lifeless ground, flitting over dried-up rivers, over broken stones cast by old glacial upheavals, flitting in that pure, cloudless air. I was beside myself when I finally reached Gallup, New Mexico, this morning. There's an auto camp here, cold, almost deserted this time of year. I went inside and asked if there was a telephone. I had the feeling that if I could only speak to someone familiar, someone I loved, I could pull myself together.
Your call, please.
Long distance.
Long distance? Certainly.
This is long distance.
I'd like to put in a call to my home in Brooklyn, New York. I'm Ronald Adams. The number is Beechwood 20828.
Certainly. I'll try to get it for you.
Albuquerque.
New York for Gallup.
New York. Gallup, New Mexico. Calling Beechwood 20828.
I'd read somewhere that love could banish demons. It was in the middle of the morning. I knew Mother'd be home. I pictured her, tall and white-haired, in her crisp house dress, going about her tasks. It'd be enough, I thought, just to hear the even calmness of her voice.
Will you please deposit $3.85 for the first 3 minutes? When you have deposited $1.50, will you wait until I have collected the money? All right. Deposit another $1.50. Will you please deposit the remaining 85 cents? Ready with Brooklyn. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Mrs. Adams' residence.
Hello? Hello, Mother?
This is Mrs. Adams' residence. Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
What? Who is this?
This is Mrs. Winnie.
Mrs. Winnie? I don't know any Mrs. Winnie. Is this Beechwood 20828?
Yes.
Where's my mother? Where's Mrs. Adams?
Mrs. Adams is not at home. She's still in the hospital.
The hospital?
Yes. Who is this calling, please? Is it a member of the family?
What's she in the hospital for?
She's been prostrated for 5 days. Nervous breakdown. But who is this calling?
Nervous breakdown? My mother was never nervous.
It's all taken place since the death of her oldest son, Ronald.
Death of her oldest son, Ronald? Hey, what is this? What number is this?
This is Beechwood 20828. It's all been very sudden. He was killed just 6 days ago in an automobile accident on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir.
And so I'm sitting here in this deserted auto camp in Gallup, New Mexico, trying to think, trying to get hold of myself. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy. Outside, it's night. The vast, soulless night of New Mexico. 1,000,000 stars are in the sky. Ahead of me stretch 1,000 miles of empty mesa, mountains, prairies, desert. Somewhere among them, he's waiting for me. Somewhere, I shall know who he is and who I am.
So ends The Hitch-Hiker. And to Orson Welles, our considerable thanks for being here tonight. Mr. Welles?
Help wanted. Men, women, and children. Nature of work, hard, monotonous, back-breaking labor. Hours, 75 a week minimum. Pay, few cents an hour. Added inducement, 2 meals a day, including several ounces of bad bread and a cup of thin soup. Don't delay, apply at once. How'd you respond to a want ad like that, Mr. and Mrs. American working man and woman? You'd laugh, wouldn't you? You'd throw the paper in the trash basket, dismiss the whole advertisement as some kind of joke. But believe me, it's no joke. It's a simple statement of the working conditions that exist today in Nazi Germany and the conquered countries under Nazi rule. It's also an exact statement of the working conditions that'll be imposed on you and every member of your family if the Nazis win this war. You yourself personally can stop them from winning, as you know. You don't have to give up your well-paid job to do it. You needn't have to be a soldier, a sailor, an airman, or a nurse, or a war worker to ensure American victory. Uncle Sam doesn't ask plain, ordinary, hard-working citizens like you to give him anything. All he asks, all he does ask, very seriously and very urgently, is that you loan him 10 cents out of every dollar you make. That's all there is to it. Lend Uncle Sam a dime to win this war, and he'll pay you back with interest when he's won it. The easiest, most convenient way to lend him these dimes is to enroll in the payroll savings plan. Just tell your boss to deduct 10 cents from every dollar he pays you and lend it to Uncle Sam in your name. Sign up for this simple savings plan today. When victory comes, you'll have war bonds in your pockets instead of Axis bonds on your wrists.
Suspense will be heard again 2 weeks from tonight. Next Wednesday night, September 9th, the Columbia Broadcasting System will present over many of these stations at 9:30 p.m. Eastern War Time an address by W. Averill Harriman, the United States Lend-Lease Administrator in London. Mr. Harriman, as the personal representative of the President of the United States, attended the Moscow conferences between Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin. Next Wednesday's broadcast will be Mr. Harriman's first public address since his return to this country. Suspense.
Suspense was originally produced and directed by William Spire. Dave McAllister was our guest director this evening. Tonight's radio drama was written by Lucille Fletcher. The original score was by Edwin Telford. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This was The Hitch-Hiker. And starring in tonight's show in order of appearance our talented cast. Jake O'Flaherty as announcer number 1. Michael Carnegie as Orson Welles. Adams was played by Josh Horowitz. Nancy Wilson was Mrs. Adams. Our hiker was played by David Westberg. Chris Frost was the attendant. Gay Jones was our storekeeper. Lee Purcell was the woman hitchhiker. James Tripp was operator number 1. Operator number 2 was Amalisha Hewick. Dana Kelly Jr. was operator number 3. And operator number 4 was Ed Williams. Susie Tanner brought to life Mrs. Winnie. Rick Scari was announcer number 2. I'm Andrew Keller, your announcer number 3. Edwin Telford is our music director. Josh Horowitz handled our magnificent editing and sound effects. Michael Carnegie runs our tech support. And last but certainly not least, our director, Dave McAllister.
Thank you all, and good night.
Goodbye.